Hello YouTube viewers, and welcome back to another exciting show of Rob 41593's Game of Thrones Season 2, Episode 2. In this episode, we'll look and examine what characters and places are the most prominent in this episode, and the biggest impacts that they have at the end. Characters that are not in this episode include Jaime Lannister, Robb Stark, Bronn Stark, Catelyn Stark, and Renly Baratheon. We still have not seen Renly Baratheon yet. We've only heard about him and his 100,000 men army. So it'll be interesting to see when Catelyn Stark reaches him through Robb Stark's message of alliance. And Jaime Lannister, he's probably going to be pushed off to the side for quite some time. Him and Bronn Stark, and hopefully we'll see Robb again. I really like his character. So we'll move on. In King's Landing, we have Tyrion and Cersei. Those are the biggest people right now we can talk about. And Littlefinger, I suppose. He has a couple scenes in this episode that are kind of weird and out of place, but for my point of view anyway. Because we know his character, he's evil and sneaky. But it shows in this episode he's willing to hurt somebody else. But we already saw that with Ned Stark, so I don't understand why they need to remind us again. We'll go to Tyrion now. The first scene we see Tyrion is walking to find Shae, and I guess have fun time with her. But he finds Varys in his room with Shae, talking about the battle Tyrion had a while back, just learning about Shae. So you know that Varys is sending a death message, and Tyrion calls him out on it and says that he knows exactly what Varys is doing. He knows that Varys is trying to threaten him because Tyrion is going against his father's wishes as to not bringing Shae with him to King's Landing, because that would embarrass the whole Lannister family if anyone found out. And Varys knows this, and I think he's giving a message to Tyrion, just a warning. But I liked how Tyrion called him out on it. Now we move to the throne room. Well, not throne room. The conference room, I should say. This will be the conference room of King's Landing in the Red Keep. We see Cersei tearing up Robb Stark's demands. He has three demands. One of them is to have all the men in his father's stead brought back, and their bodies brought back to Winterfell. Another is return the sword of Winterfell back, I think it was, and renounce the North from King Joffrey control. Because Robb just wants to be independent kingdom. He doesn't want to try to overthrow Joffrey, he wants to overthrow Joffrey's rule over the North, but not take King's Landing. That would be kind of suicide. He knows that too. So Cersei tears it up, and Tyrion says that she's perfected the art of tearing up paper. Tyrion has interesting conversation between him and the rest of the council men. We know that they don't take him seriously, very, very seriously at all, because we see that when Tyrion brings up the subject of the wall and how Commander Mormont has sent a message about White Walkers and the dead coming back to life. Tyrion believes this, I think, because he knows that Commander Mormont does not lie. But, however, the council members don't even want to pay attention. They actually get up while Tyrion is talking, which is very, very rude, because he is the hand of the king, but no one is taking him seriously at all. So he knows he's got to step it up, and to do that, he has to find the weakest link in the council, and that weakest link is Janos Slynt, because he was just promoted a lord, and Janos Slynt is the head of the Gold Cloaks. He's head of the guard of King's Landing, which is controlled by the King Joffrey, but Tyrion finds a way to get rid of Janos Slynt in this episode, and he confronts him with the subject of Jaina Slint killing Ned Stark's men on command of King Joffrey and Cersei, I think. I thought this was very satisfying how Tyrion very much disapproved of the whole thing of overthrowing Ned Stark, but at the same time, he also realizes that Jaina Slint could do the same goddamn thing to him. So, he even says it to his face that that Jaina Slint does not have any honor whatsoever and would betray anyone given the right amount of money. So, he has Bronn, which I love his character, by the way. He has Bronn the Badass. That's going to be his last name, because I don't know his last name. It's Bronn the Badass. Become the head of the guard in place of Jaina Slint. I thought it was very funny, and now Jaina Slint is being sent to the Wall. So Tyrion helps out the Wall a little bit by sending Jaina Slint there. Cersei does not like this whatsoever. She confronts him afterwards and says that he has no right, but Tyrion had every right. He's the hand of the king. Cersei calls him out by bringing up the story of how he killed their mother by childbirth. Tyrion, we see Tyrion not break down a little bit, but take it hard a little bit. We see all his jokes and his smiling face fade away, and we see him just act serious. And that was a very emotional moment there. And I love that the characters between Tyrion and Cersei, and I hope we see more of those conversations to come between those two. So we know that Tyrion has a lot of disapproval between Cersei, and we see that Cersei's character is so evil because of what happened between her and Tyrion. What happened at childbirth. So we get a nice deeper feel for Cersei's character. Now, she also brings up an important thing, that at the end of episode 1, there was an order given out to kill all of Robert Baratheon's bastard sons and daughters. So it would ruin King Joffrey's claim to the throne. Tyrion finds out that Cersei Lannister did not order the killing of children. It was actually King Joffrey. So you know Joffrey's taking this incest thing very, very seriously, and he won't let anybody challenge him at all. He won't. He's very ruthless and brash, and that actually is his flaw, because Tyrion even says that they're losing the people. They are. And King Joffrey and Cersei are just going to keep on fucking things up. They really are. So Tyrion has to gain more influence in over the council and get more power. And we'll see that in the episodes to come. Moving from King's Landing, let's go to the King's Road. We see Arya, Gendry, and Yoren in here. Gendry, in case you guys have forgotten, is King Robert's bastard-born son. I think he's King Robert's eldest bastard-born son. And we also see Yoren, who is one of the Night's Watch. He was sent there to collect people for the Watch and bring them back to the Watch. So, but remember, in episode 9, season 1, Ned Stark ordered Yoren to bring Arya to safety. And Yoren's only way to do this is to bring her to the Wall. Or maybe drop her off at Winterfell as they're passing by. Who knows? So, right now Arya is safe. Until they see Gold Cloaks show up as at their place. And we know that the Gold Cloaks are in search of something, and we find out that instead of searching for Arya, they're actually searching for Gendry, because he's King Robert's bastard. Gendry, I think, is surprised by this, and he even says to Arya that he doesn't know why they're looking for him, so he doesn't know that he's part royalty a little bit. But Arya learns that both the Hand of the Kings, Jon Arryn and Ned Stark, her father, visited him before they died. She knows this, and so she confides in him the information that she is Ned Stark's youngest daughter, Arya Stark. Gendry is a little surprised by this. He says calls her my lady. After he sees that she takes offense of that, he keeps on doing it to to make her mad. And I think that was funny, and it shows that they have a nice little friendship going on that's becoming more developed, I think. And those two characters really, really go hand in hand. Them and Jon Snow and Samwell are those friendships that both those people have found are very good and very entertaining to watch. It's very good to watch character interaction like that, and in Game of Thrones, like, that is my favorite thing to see in the episodes. Moving from King's Road and King's Landing, we'll go to the Wall. At the Wall, well, north of the Wall, I should say, we're back at Craster's Keep. We have a scene where Sam focused on Samwell, talking about the girls they're seeing and how all the Night's Watch kind of wishes they had women with them, but as they're tempted with all these women around them. Samwell actually runs into this one woman who is pregnant and really wants to help her get out of there because she looks distressed. He brings her to Jon Snow. Jon Snow says that they can't bring her with them. That would be just ludicrous and suicide. And I agree with Jon that she would die if they came along with them. They're going deeper into wildling territory, and they don't want to bring a woman with them. That would, or an untrained woman with them that's pregnant. That would kill her and the baby. So they leave her there. Jon Snow wants to leave her at Craster's Keep. So Sam is a little sad at that, but we find later on that Jon Snow kind of wonders as to why she wants to leave, even though she's pregnant. And the woman says that because it might be a boy, something bad will happen. And he finds out later on because he hears screams at night, baby screams, as Craster is carrying off a baby into the woods. And we can probably assume it's a boy because we know that bad things happen to boys when they're born in Craster's Keep. We see Craster through Jon Snow's eyes that he lays the boy down for these creatures to come. And I can only assume they're White Walkers that carry off the baby. I have to assume that. We didn't get a good glimpse of it, though. So it could be anything. Jon sees this, and he's very surprised. He doesn't even go attack them, because he knows that if he does that, he doesn't know what's out there, basically. However, he is completely taken aback and surprised when he sees Craster right behind him, and Craster just wails at him with the back of his axe, I think, or I don't know. He wails at him with a club, I think. That knocks him out, and that's the end of the episode. That was very surprising. I thought we would see a little bit more, but I was surprised that Craster hit him in the back of the head, and I don't think that was in the books. I'm not sure. It's been a while since I read the second book, but I don't think that was in the book. So it'll be interesting to see what happens outside of the books and that the directors do to show the reaction from that in episode for episode 3. From there, we'll go to Vasta Thraki. We only see one scene with Dany Targaryen, Jorah Mormont. They're still dying of thirst, basically. They're down to the last days, I should say. They know they're gonna die unless they find a place for safety. We see one lone horse walking from the distance, so we can assume that the rider is coming back to show him the way. And and we see Dany's reaction to this is full of hope and surprise, and Jorah too. But when they get to the horse, they find the horse without a rider. And if you look very closely in the episode, you can see blood painted on the horse, which I saw my second time watching the episode. I noticed that detail, and I was like taken aback by it. I'm like, well, why is there blood on the horse? But we see blood dripping from this satchel that's on the horse, and we find that it is one of Dany's rider's head. this is very concerning because this part was not in the books at all. They actually had a rider come, one of the riders come and bring him to safety and find all this fruit in a nice little oasis. Now, we don't have that. We don't know what's going to happen now. We don't even know if her riders are still coming back, because Jorah even says that maybe her other riders killed him because they didn't like a woman leading the Khalizar. But we saw that the rider had his hair chopped off as well, so we know it had to be a Dothraki who did that to him. And they were sending Dany a message by bringing the horse back to them, warning them, I guess. So we don't know what's going to happen. Most likely, Dany is going to go that way and find out who did that. That's what my guess is. And maybe in episode 3 we'll see that, but most likely we'll see that in the future to come. Episode 3 or 4 we'll probably see that happening. So that Jon Snow, do 2 different cliffhangers for those subplots that were not in the books that surprised me to hell. And I love that. I love being surprised, even though I read the source material, basically. Now, let's go over to Dragonstone. Dragonstone, we still see here of the Red Witch. I'll reveal her name right now. The Red Witch's name is Melisandre. We see Melisandre, Davos Seaworth, Stannis Baratheon. We see a good, better insight into Davos Seaworth's history, I guess, through conversations from his son, that we know that Davos can't write, and we learned that his fingers were cut off, I think, with one of the conversations from the pirate. That was very fast and very brief, and I don't like that. I talked about it last episode, how I think they're rushing Dragonstone a little bit through conversations like that, and that was one of the examples. However, I did like the conversation Davos had with his pirate friend, Salador, I think I'm pronouncing his name right, and how Salador has 30 ships at his disposal, and Davos wants those ships for King Stannis' navy to invade King's Landing. Salador agrees to help Davos out because Davos says that Stannis is the most honorable king, and how Stannis was the one who gave Davos everything. He gave him he also gave his son the ability to become a knight and read and write, which Davos never could do. So we'll probably see that develop a little bit more through episode 3, I hope. But overall, I think Davos' character is becoming more developed, which I like. A little bit fast-paced, in my opinion, but I understand why they're doing it so fast. Now, we also see Melisandre and Stannis Baratheon, and we see that Stannis Baratheon's character change in this episode. In episode 1, he was determined and brutal and cruel, and in this episode, he's falling apart already. He knows he can't defeat King Renly. He knows he can't defeat King Joffrey. He has barely any men. He only has like 30 ships from Salador's men. And we see him and Davos planning out their strategy of battle through these like chip pieces they plant down on the board. After Davos exits the room, Melisandre sexually seduces him, basically, in order to win his trust back to the so-called Lord of Light, which is her god and she worships. She takes off her clothes and says she can give him a son. Stannis is so weak-willed that he does that. He gives in to her, even though he has a wife and, I think, a daughter. Davos will probably discover this or find or see her influence be shown through Stannis' actions, and we can see that Melisandre is going to Melisandre's ways of battle are different than Stannis' views, because Melisandre requires faith in this random god that no one's heard of until this point, and Stannis is just giving into this. But we still don't know where he got Melisandre from. Where did she come from? That's where I want to know. That they give no explanation as to how he met Melisandre. Because Melisandre, we know, is not part of Dragonstone. She came from somewhere. She most likely from Vasta Thraki or something. Because we know that she's foreign to Dragonstone through her religion. Because Dragonstone worshipped the 7 gods. But we still don't know where she came from, which I find so upset over that. They could really give a lot more detail into where she came from, but they're probably holding it for a mystery, like her name in episode 1, so I'll just have to be more patient with that. So we'll move on to Pike. This was the best scene in this episode, I have to say. Even with Janos Slynt, I loved this part was Pike. Pike was very well done, in contrast to Dragonstone. The scenery in Pike was just amazing. I loved the castle on top of the random hills. That was great. And even though I don't like Theon Greyjoy's character, I think he's a scummy bastard. He's a very weak character because he assumes everything's going to be given to him. He lands onto Pike, and he's not greeted at all by his father, who is Lord of Pike, Balon Greyjoy. We see him meet this young woman who brings him to the castle, and as she brings him to the castle, he gropes her. It just goes to show you that he's just such a disgusting pig, because he's groping this woman after he had sex with the captain's daughter. Through the past weeks, he's been sailing with them to Pike. It was just disturbing because, this guy's just a scumbag. He doesn't really care about other people besides himself, I think. So as he's going to the castle, he meets his father, Balon Greyjoy. We learn from a brief history that Balon Greyjoy tried to overthrow King Robert and Ned Stark in a rebellion against them. 9 years ago, by the way, and Theon Greyjoy was sent to Ned Stark as a hostage, to act as a hostage against Balon Greyjoy. Balon Greyjoy does not like Theon anymore because he thinks Theon has gone to the Stark side. Even though Theon presents Balon with a message from Robb Stark saying that if Pike fights with Robb Stark's army, they will become an independent kingdom, which I think is a very reasonable decision. But Balon Greyjoy does not like this at all, because he's stuck in his old ways of the Iron Price, which is basically the Pike's motto for you are given what you take, basically. So in order to get a crown, Balon's view is to take it from somebody, even though it's already given to him plain in his face. Balon does not want to destroy Robb Stark's enemies, because that would be an insult to his nature and basically his house name of Greyjoy, which sucks because Robb really needs Pike's navy in order to take King's Landing or have a fighting chance against Joffrey's men. So we will see how Theon deals with that failure, and we also see a humorous dialogue between him and his sister Yara, which was the same person he was groping on the horse on the way to the castle. She knows how scumbaggish Theon is, and most likely will destroy the chances of Theon inheriting the title of Lord of Pike. Yara, Theon's sister, has basically fought in battle and is stronger than Theon. She even says it to his face, and Balon agrees with her, which sucks for Theon because Theon has just lost everything at this point. He's lost all respect he has with his father. He's lost any sense of strength he once had. He knows nothing is going to go his way, and now he's torn between choosing his father, Balon Greyjoy, or Robb Stark, his brother, basically. Not by blood, but by battle. So it'll be very weird to see where that goes, and I like this storyline. It moves along and adds another subplot to this story. So that's our I think this will be our new maid subplot, which it will be Theon Greyjoy's being accepted by his father. Alright, I think that was everything that was covered from this episode and any loose ends that I forgot to mention from last episode. I'm very interested to see where this story will go. Overall, I would give this episode an 8.5 out of 10 because this episode was, even though it was a little bit fast-paced, it was more slow than it was in the last episode. So I got to concentrate on new characters. I thought Pike was amazing. They did a very good job of that. The character interaction between Arya and Gendry was great to see, along with Tyrion's confrontation with Janos Slynt was awesome. Negative aspects included Dragonstone, I think, again, with Melisandre's character. I really want to like this character, I really do, but I just don't know a lot of information about her, and I really want to know that. Another negative aspect was how, even though Daenerys' scene was great, I loved that, it was the only scene of her. It was the only scene of her in this episode. It's not so much a negative aspect, it's just a complaint I have. It doesn't take away a lot of the episode, but it's still, I wish they add more, and they needed to take her out of the episode and put her in episode 3 or something, where just to concentrate on her, rather than just throw her at us again. Okay, that's it. Stay tuned for more videos to come. I'm looking forward to the next episode this Sunday at 9 o'clock on HBO. Okay, guys, remember to subscribe if you like these reviews, and if you want to hear more. I'm Rob41593, signing off.